Mine
via
still says
here.
it's waiting.
Yeah,
Okay. Is it working now?
I will let you know if mine changes. I'm gonna exit out and try to come back in. See if that makes any difference.
Oh, we're
Oh,
live.
there it
Yeah.
is.
All
Oh,
right.
I gotta mute it. Oh gosh.
Okay.
There we go.
Oh, there we
So
go.
for everybody that
Okay.
was sitting in the chat waiting for the last 7 minutes, um, so everybody knows, I have to mute this because I'm hearing a feedback. Thank you for everybody that was sitting and waiting. We had already kind of started because I am technologically incompetent and I thought we had started 10 minutes ago. So thank you everybody for your patience. And welcome. We are the authors of Fate and Fury, a Deadly Sin Anthology. And we are so excited to be here. Very nervous, struggling to work basic YouTube. All of my family is probably laughing at me right now. But welcome. We're going to introduce ourselves because we know that everybody probably doesn't know all of us. So take two on this, everybody. I'll start. I'm the curator of A Fate and Fury. My name is Lena Amargo. I wrote 2 stories for the collection Refuse Thy Name, which is based on the Sin of Pride, and Sin of the Father, which is the forgotten sin of Despond. I'm so excited to be here and thank you all again. Ellie, do you want to take over?
Hi, I'm Ellie Reina. I wrote The Master of Nothing featuring the Sin of Sloth, and I am so excited to be here. Thank you, everyone who's also here to come to watch us talk about our book baby.
Next up, we have Cam.
Hi, everybody. I am CM McCann. I wrote The Temptation of Magic, which is featuring the Sin of Envy. I am super excited and still kind of processing that this is happening right now. So, yeah.
All right. Next up, Maddie.
Hi everyone, I'm Maddie Jensen. I wrote Bittersweet, which is the Sin of Wrath, and I'm really excited to be here. So yeah.
And Kayla.
Hi, I'm Kayla Whittle, and I wrote Lovesick, which is the story of lust. And I'm also very excited to be here.
Cass. Diddy.
Hi, I'm Cassidy Clark. I wrote A Million Dreams, which features the sin gluttony, and I'm not that excited to be here, actually. No, I'm kidding. I'm pumped to be here. It's so much fun.
Thank you for bringing some humor. I needed that.
You're welcome.
And last but certainly not least.
Hey guys, I'm Cass Marin, and I wrote Forget Me Not, the Sin of Greed. So thanks, Lena, for putting all this together. We're all excited to be here, obviously, and glad that we're finally live streaming. So
All right. So without further ado, I'd love to jump into the fun, especially since we had a delay and we've got a lot of really fun things planned. So we'll kind of start easy to, I guess, let ourselves breathe into this. We had some questions submitted from friends on Instagram, only a few that we thought were really great questions and we'd love to answer for anybody curious. But those of you that are joining from the chat, please feel free to ask your questions there as well, because we will be trying to monitor that and we'll answer those too. And then we've got some games for later that we're really excited to play. But first up, we have some questions coming in from Blake Barrington. She asked us a few that I thought were really great. And this is for everyone. We'll kind of go around and I'll answer. Besides the sin you wrote, which sin or which story is your favorite? I'll go first just because that's easier. I can't pick a favorite when it comes to writing wise, because all of the authors, you guys are so incredibly talented. And I was blown away every time I read each draft and from the pitches. But I think my favorite to read, just because of who I am, was actually Kayla, your story, Lovesick, just because it's this perfect little bite in the middle of the anthology of just like happiness that I think broke up the angst so well that in my last reread, I was just like, oh, thank goodness we had this moment, because it was just such the levity that I personally needed in my life. And I just love wit, and I think everybody is just obsessed with your character. She's such a adorable, kind, and yet also fierce customer service warrior. So that'd be my answer. Who wants to go next?
I feel like this is a trap.
I can go next. I think so. I love all of the stories. I actually just finished reading through all of them again last night because I enjoy reading them so much. But I think as far as like character goes, I definitely Forget Me Not definitely hit me in the feels because Naomi, I so know what it's like to want to set out to do good and feel like you're trying to do good, but other people may interpret your actions as something that it's not. Being a neurodivergent author is definitely, I think a lot of people misinterpret the things that I do. So her struggle is something that I really, really related to. So yeah, that one always gets me in the feels. I love Naomi.
Thanks, Ellie. Thank you.
Yeah, as an older sister, I can't get through that one without sobbing. So that's why it's not my favorite, because it hits too close to home.
It honestly makes me happy that a couple people commented on like, oh, it's, you know, it's perfect for as an elder sibling, because I am not an elder sibling. So I just was like going off of vibes. So I tried and apparently succeeded in some aspects. So
Brilliant. It's so
thanks.
good. Who wants to go next? This is a fun question.
I can go. So maybe the opposite of Wit's story. I love me some angst when I'm reading. So I really liked Joseph's angst in A Million Dreams. That's the kind of thing that I'm like, yes, torture your characters. Let me feel let me feel the character arc through the negative emotions, and then maybe get a little bit of positivity at the end. That's the kind of story that I really tend to reach for.
Thank you. I messaged Lena like while I was writing it, and I was like, hey, how much am I allowed to make this hurt the way I want to? She was like, yeah, go for it.
It
Awesome.
did. It was the good kind of hurt.
Yeah, it still hurts. I'm still angry, even though I totally okayed it. I was like, how dare you? Does anybody else have an answer? Right. I guess not everybody.
I'll chime in. I was pleasantly surprised, even though you had to do it very last minute, by Marcello's story, Sin of Pride. You pulled that off flawlessly for somebody who had to write that really quickly.
Thank you.
And I was so completely invested from like the minute you started writing that story and started sharing scenes with me. And I think Marcello's like emotional journey, but also like his personality, like all of it was so much fun, and it was an emotional roller coaster. Plus I'm like very drawn into like star-crossed lovers. So like the Romeo and Juliet aspect of it all, and set in Italy, like you really captured the environment and the emotions so well. And that, you know, as somebody who also has a hard time living up to their dad's expectations, I really related to that a lot. So well done.
Thank you. I think it just reaffirmed my toxic trait that all of my best work is going to be last minute, as another neurodivergent author. So I'm like, great, now I guess I have to just do everything at the 11th hour. But thank you. Maddie or CM, do you want to jump on?
I'm happy to go. I think The Temptation Magic for me was like one that really stood out to me. I think obviously like the environment is like so different and everything like that. And I just really like the characterization for me. I was like, I love me, a morally grey character. So like for me, I was like, yes, like this is it. This is my favorite.
And the amount of world building you managed to just like pack into that tiny story. I was just like, okay, this is a full-size novel within 15,000 words or something.
Yeah, I don't know
like
how
that.
you did that, Cam, at all. Like, that's crazy.
Insane. We had a pop-in question. I just want to answer quick from, I guess, AJ Lexa, asking if we have a uniform. The answer is yes, we have t-shirts, because this is the closest to a sorority that I will ever get.
Mine is in the dryer. I'll be
Well,
honest.
she's wearing black, so it looks like you're wearing it.
Yeah, it's close enough.
All right. CM, did you answer that as well? Do you want to answer? You don't have to.
I did not, and I will also be honest that I have not actually managed to read through the whole thing yet. baby has prevented me from like actually getting to sit down, because I don't want, for these stories especially, I don't want to have to break up my reading. So and these past 2 weeks I've been sick, which has also kind of broken down what I've been able to do. So now that I'm on the other side of that, it is my goal probably this weekend to enjoy it with the rest of the world, since it'll be out.
You mean
I also
are
just
bedtime stories for your baby?
Oh, there you go. Yeah, perfect.
I also do just want to shout you out. Kim, I think broke her finger like the week before our first drafts were due. She's got a baby. Like she has been doing so much and still managed to absolutely knock it out of the park. So take your time. The stories are going to be there, but I'm just impressed that you got things done, because
Me too.
yeah, take a sip of your cocktail. That's another thing for those watching at home. We all tried to make our sinful cocktails. Mine's a mocktail because I'm on antibiotics right now. But aside from that, hope everybody at home is also enjoying some type of beverage or snack. We're gonna keep moving through because we've got some good questions, and I'm sure there will be more that come in. This one is one that we all, I feel like, got during our individual sin takeovers, but I think it'd be interesting to kind of talk about the process together. How hard was it working together to get all the stories and characters straight across the anthology? If anybody wants to jump in, right? I enjoyed it. This is my Super Bowl. I was like, this is great. But if anybody wants to offer a
So as like a major world building fan, I thought that was a lot of fun collaborating on what the world building was going to look like, and what could appear in all of our stories, and how those little details could either be like Easter eggs or full on cameos, or big details. And I think it was complex, but it was also a lot of fun trying to figure out how that was going to work. And it was just really fun being a part of that. So I think it was very challenging, because I had to like peek in at everybody's stories as they were writing it to be like, okay, how are they doing this? Okay, how are they doing this? But overall, I think we really did a good job collectively, and it was an honor. So
yeah, I think for me it was easier than I thought it was going to be. Like when we went into it, I've never really done a collaboration type thing before, and I was like, okay, I don't know how this is gonna work, but I thought it went really well. And I mean, it was definitely intimidating having to share characters, I think, for the first time with other people, and like Cass said, like checking in, like, okay, how did they do this? Like I have to try and keep this in line with what they're doing, but also wanted to add my own. So it was definitely interesting, but I found that it was a lot easier than I thought it would be. And I think a lot of that is because you facilitated it so well.
Yes, huge kudos to Lena.
By facilitate, you mean spam an Instagram group chat with messages 20,000 times and create a Google folder, right?
Can we just tell everybody the name of our group chat is the Multiverse of Sin, because I thought that was so fun.
Spoiler for later, we are going to play a custom Cards Against Humanity, and the deck name is also called the Multiverse of Sin. So if anybody wants to play, we'll drop the link. You guys can, it's a deck that's going to be out there to the world, so you can take it to your family functions and play with it. So Multiverse of Sin will live on. Did anybody else want to add anything to that question? You want to?
I think from what I remember, Cass and Lena did a lot of the heavy lifting when it came to the lore and, the fates and the furies, building that sort of backbone for the rest of us to kind of build off of. So like, feel bad for saying it, but y'all made my job easy. So I don't remember it being difficult for me. Thanks to you. It also probably helped that Cardin is the baby of the family, and he was a baby for a lot of the drama that went down in the beginning. So it was pretty smooth sailing for me, the collaboration.
And yet, if I remember correctly, you were also the first person done with your story. So I feel like you set the tone, because like you came in and it was like so good. And
I feel like we had just finished like talking about it, and Ellie was like, okay, well, I'm done with my draft if anyone wants to read it. And I was like, what?
Right. We had a Zoom meeting, and like the week after, Ellie was like, and that's it. I'm done. See you guys in June.
I know. I remember I was the one who, I think when we were paired up, I was the one who like critiqued Master of Nothing, and I was like sitting there and I'm like, I feel bad. Like they have to read my like, I just like chucked my draft in and I was reading the Master of Nothing and I was like, well.
It was so clean from the get-go that we set the tone and everybody was like,
yeah,
well, now we have to match that energy because it was just so good.
I'm such a nerd. As soon as you offered me the chance to write for Sloth, I was like, all right, here we go. And I just banged it out.
Opposite of Sloth.
Yes, complete opposite.
Maddie, Kayla,
I think that was what, carrying on from what you were saying about like the drafting process. I think like there are a few of you, like I know Cass as well, was like, avert your eyes, like this is a terrible draft. I'm like looking at it, I'm like, what are you talking about? This is better than anything I've written in my whole life.
Oh,
like,
please.
Drafts, and I'm just like, if this is terrible, like I'm really excited for like the final version, because like everyone, I remember like popping into the drafts, I'm like, everyone's like everyone was like, no, like don't look at it, it's so bad. And I'm like, where?
I have to just give kudos to, I think it was like Cam, Ellie, and Lena were like brave enough to like put their drafts in there as they were writing it. And I was like, yeah, I'm not putting anything in there because it's like people are reading over my shoulder. I was so nervous because like people are judging me because I would like pop into like Lena's and she'd be like mid-sentence and I'm just like, okay, I feel like I'm like stalking her right now.
It was so motivating though, because I was like, this has to be a good sentence because Cass is watching and I'm not going to give her garbage. There was also a question in the chat to kind of piggyback off this and continue the conversation, but did everybody read one another's stories? Yeah, we actually swapped. So we paired up. I don't even remember how we paired up. We paired up and offered like randomly. Round one feedback. And then a couple of us, I know I read everybody's and left comments on everybody's because I just had nothing better to do with my life. And I was really excited about it. But yeah, we tried to create like a little bit of a CP swap within the anthology. So we all were getting some feedback. Kayla, Cam, do you have anything to add about what the process was like to collaborate?
Yeah, I would just say it was easier for me too than I had expected it to be. And I think that's because everyone was pretty flexible about how each other could be incorporated in the different stories and gave so many great opportunities for that crossover aspect, even in like the simplest little details, because I'm a sucker for books where there's little Easter eggs where you can kind of put it together.
Yeah.
And it was nice that we all got so much input in different things to like the smallest details of world building. So that definitely helped make the process a lot easier.
Yeah, I still, the last read through I did, I was like, I have to find every Easter egg. And I don't think I've even found all of them yet. So it's definitely something that people could reread and be like, oh, or at least I hope
think CM just messaged me just the other day, was like, wait, is this? And I was like, breadcrumbs. Yeah, I wasn't explicit with everything, but I thought, it would be fun to leave little things here and there.
That was probably actually my hardest part. So like taking Reshef into the story was easy. Like one of the Furies in the was fine, but then like the little breadcrumbs were the hardest for me because my story is so far removed from everything else. And also she just doesn't have access to that many of her memories yet. So I was like, how do I put this here without like making it feel forced? So there's not a ton.
But I also think that was something really fun for all of us to kind of decide how much each sin knew, and sort of where they were in their process of reincarnation, because I think it allowed for that kind of like Alessa's story just feels so much more fantastical, I think, because she gets to like remove herself from it. But I also think that exemplifies sort of where she was in the family too, and how removed she felt from the family in the first iteration. So I think it led lent to more creativity throughout. So I was really impressed with the way that you were able to still pepper those breadcrumbs in, despite the fact that she didn't have the memory, right? Going through just like even like things as little as like scent descriptions. I was like, oh my goodness, that's, that's exactly what that is. So hopefully readers will have fun digging into those little nuggets as they go through. Okay, so a couple more questions that came in, and then we can check with people in the chat. If you had to reincarnate in any of the worlds or time periods of the story, where would you go? I'll leave that one open.
I think I would definitely choose Alessa. Like Selenia was so cool, and everyone had, most everyone has magic, and I don't know. I think that would have been a really cool place, because I wouldn't want to go to any of the places in my story because it was like in the middle of war, like it wasn't great. So definitely Selenia in Temptation of Magic. That was a lot of fun, and you created a really cool world shaped like a moon, and I love moons. So
I think I would love to like live in a little apartment like above Wit's coffee shop and just go down and like get a coffee whenever I wanted. Like that felt like except for the manager, which gave me war flashbacks.
Too realistic.
I thought that it felt like a really sweet like atmosphere. It was really cute. They had little like music, like talent contests and everything. I was like, oh, I'd like to live there.
Yeah. I think I agree with I'd love to live in Selenia, because I'm a sucker for a good fantasy world. That, or I would like to be like with Carden during like his Italian voyages that he had, the flashback that he had, just like immersed in art and just being the living muse in the middle of like the Italian Renaissance would absolutely if I had to choose a real world example, that'd be mine. But Selenia is still first on my list. Sorry.
I definitely wouldn't want to live in the Victorian era, but I am obsessed with England, and I would love to live in Shoreditch. So I'm gonna go with it's just always gonna be Cass's story, I guess, at this point. No, I remember when I read that in your story, I was like, I've always wanted to go there. So I think that's gonna be the one for
I
me.
did fun fact. Of course, this is how I work on every story, but I did an insane amount of research on that exact neighborhood. I've been to London before. I'm actually going back in a few weeks. But I don't have specific memories of that neighborhood or anything. But I was like, okay, I need like a posh neighborhood that like Naomi would live in, like all these different things, and something that would have existed in the I had to like overlap it with a lot of things, and that I narrowed it down to that one. And yeah, I love London. I love England. So it was perfect. I put a lot of me into that story.
I think
Anybody
I would go with Italy in Marcello's story, specifically if I could be rich. Even
Right.
knowing I would probably crumble under the pressure, but I would enjoy it first. So
Yeah, I have never
absolutely.
been to Italy, so that was also a lot of research and just like, what does Tuscany smell like? Question mark into my Google search.
I googled that same thing. That is so funny. I was like, what does Tuscany smell like? Like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, you guys did a good job, because I've been to like Florence and like Tuscany, and I was like, this is making me want to go back so bad. You captured it perfectly. And AJ says, sign me up for Italy, baby, by the way, just in the comments.
Yeah, at the end of this live, you might win a free trip. No. Could you imagine?
Who's paying for that?
Not me. My husband's already like, how much did you put into this project? I'm like, shh, it's fine.
Like my heart and soul. Okay.
Yeah. My whole identity, thank you. Anybody else want to chime in about where they'd go?
I'm gonna have to say Italy as well. And if I was like rich people Italy, like
Yeah.
like the vibes there.
Marcello and Luca like touring you around like the nicest restaurants and
Just
fashion,
whining and dining us.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I don't know. I feel like Marcello would bully me, man. I don't know if I want to.
what are you wearing?
That's exactly it.
I'd show up in my t-shirt, like ready to go.
We have to make it a girls' trip, and everyone can come so we can survive in numbers against them.
Yes.
Right, just a horde
Yeah.
of us. All right. Last question that we had submitted, and then we can open up to the chat. I love this one. Wait, if you had to have one of the curses yourself, which would you choose?
Oh, they all sound awful.
They are pretty awful, yeah.
I think I'd have to choose Minnie's curse from Bittersweet, which is Maddie's story, just because the idea of being able to create illusions, albeit like sometimes horrifying, was so intriguing, because I was like, imagine that power like as a writer, or just I'd entertain myself all day, like instead of having to just live in my head with all my daydreams to make them possible. That'd be really cool. But I guess it's obviously a catch-22 depending on how you use it. But I love that power.
I'm gonna have to agree with that. I would probably pick Minnie's too. I just feel like that's the one that me personally I would benefit the most from. Wit would be a close second. I'm hesitant to say it just because I know I could probably let that get out of control and get myself into trouble. But Minnie or Wit are the two that I would probably go with.
I think I would probably choose Marcello. I just feel like I have really bad luck all the time. So I wouldn't mind having a little bit of luck here and there. As long as I didn't have anybody trying to exploit it, that would be great. So there's always a catch in our book, as you'll understand.
Yeah, agreed. I would pick Marcello, whose name I'm now finding out is not pronounced Marcello, as I've been saying. But yeah, I think that, I don't know, the idea of being lucky like appeals to me a lot, because I feel like half the time I'm like like it's just like, I feel like I don't know, I feel like it's the one that has the least negative consequences out of everybody. So I just gravitate towards that one, because I'm like, okay, no consequences, let's go.
But if you were so lucky, where would you get all of your inspiration for all the angst that you put in all of your stories?
Other people.
That sounds like it would go downhill really fast.
Yeah.
Anybody
My first
else?
instinct was to say luck too, but I feel like I would get too greedy with it too fast and wouldn't want to use it for other people. So I don't know. I feel like I would easily implode with any of these curses.
It's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say wits. I think like obviously there's like pros and cons, but like I think it's a really interesting curse, I guess. So like I'm like, I'd probably gravitate towards that, I think.
Yeah. Is that everyone? No.
Minis, like some of you, because yeah, illusions would be lovely. And honestly, I would love to incorporate them into dance. So I think that'd be really fun.
Oh, that's such a cool twist on it. We have some coming in, but I also wonder if anybody has ideas of which one they would want the least, right? That wasn't a question that we had, but on this kind of discussion.
The only reason why I say that is because his negatively impacts his physical health. So that would really suck. Like the idea that he can inspire people, but it comes at such a huge cost. And like,
yeah,
I already have an autoimmune disease. I don't need to tack that on top of it. You know what I mean? It just sounds awful.
On that same note, I'd say Joseph's, because I'm already hungry all the time. I don't need it to also then deteriorate my physical and mental health. That would feel like some of the sins definitely got the short end of the stick when it came to how much it impacted them.
Honestly, I'd pick Naomi's, because she obviously remembers every excruciating detail of everything, which is already something I suffer with a lot with my anxiety. I just like over and over obsessively like think about things in the past that like, from like third grade, things that don't even matter. It's like, I just need to let those things go, but I can't. And so having her ability to actually remember in even more excruciating detail would probably be my worst nightmare. So definitely not mine.
Anyone else?
I'd say Joseph's. Because yeah, like when I get hungry, I get hangry anyway. So I'm just imagining me like constantly hangry, and I'm like, no, I don't want that. I don't need that.
Anybody else?
Honestly, I was gonna say Joseph's too. I was mean to him.
Yeah.
Well,
And even the way you set it up too, that first line, just like the hollow, evocative vibe that you put out, like from those first paragraphs, I was like, oh no, this poor baby.
I just like being hungry is one of my least favorite sensations on the planet. So if it had to be like all the time, it would not be good.
Mm-hmm. Was that everyone? Am I missing people? Okay. There were a couple of questions that came in through the chat as well that I think are really great. Both of them from Katie M, who is probably, it's really late there, Katie. Thank you for joining. There are two right in a row. Which sin would you want to go on a road trip with? And which character's clothing style would you be most likely to wear?
Marcello.
Marcello.
Although Naomi does have really great style as well. And I pulled like real inspiration from my own like Pinterest board for that one of like my ideal, like if I was rich kind of style. And so Marcello or Naomi for sure.
I think I would go on a road trip with Marcello, but I think I would dress like Naomi. Like I like your descriptions of her outfits and everything. I was like, oh my gosh, I want her closet.
Tweed.
Yes, it's perfect.
I feel the opposite. I feel like Martello would be so fun, but I'd be so overwhelmed. Like I'd be wanting to impress him the whole time. And I know that I'd never live up to his standard. So I think that I honestly like Wit's style a lot because it's just very kind of like casual and functional, but still stylish. And I like that. And honestly, like I would go on a road trip with her too, right? Like show me all the best coffee places. Let's do just an anxiety-free crawl through whatever city you want to go through.
See, I was gonna pick her for a road trip too, but we both have anxiety, so I don't know how that would go. It would either work really well or it would, we would panic.
Just an endless cycle of no, where do you want to eat?
Yeah.
No, I don't care. Where do you want to go?
I don't know if you guys could see the chat, but AJ says not getting in a car with Minnie too soon. People who have read the story will understand probably not the best idea.
You know.
Yeah, if you know, you know.
You know. And then Katie talking about the light academia aesthetic. Absolutely, I agree. I wish that I was the kind of person that could actually cultivate that aesthetic in real life. Yeah.
And Katie also says she likes Cardin's style, which absolutely, definitely great style.
I was actually going to say I'd probably dress like him because of the dark academia. Obviously not the Victorian. Like I'd be weird if I was just walking around. And like,
I don't know. Okay. That'd be kind of cool.
Live your best life.
I already do kind of in the fall specifically dress dark academia.
Mm-hmm.
As far as a road trip though, he would suck. I would go on a road trip with Joseph. Joseph would be fun.
He would.
So
he'd have the road trip playlist down.
Yes.
He'd know all the
right restaurants. Totally fine with someone who's always like, pull over for food. I'd be like, all right.
All the best eats, definitely.
Best road trip snacks.
Yeah.
For sure.
Definitely.
Anybody else?
In terms of style, I think I'd go with like Naomi because like her like whole aesthetic. I was like, ooh, like this is cool. This is how I would dress if I had like money.
Oh yeah, she's the dream.
Yeah. In terms of like road trip, like obviously not me. But I would probably go with Cardin. Like he'd probably annoy me, but I feel like it'd be like interesting as well.
Mm.
So I feel like it'd be a bit of a mixed bag there. I feel like it'd be interesting to go on a road trip with. So yeah.
Is that everybody? Did anybody else want to answer? All right. Moving on. Are there any other questions from the chat? Otherwise, we can go to our next sort of game. Well, you know, we can go to the next game anyway, and then chat if you have questions as we go forth. Drop it in. I'm going to try to be better about actually looking at it, and then we
I
can go
got you,
from
Lena.
there.
I got you.
Okay, so our next game is still just kind of questions and discussion based, but a little bit more focusing on the characters themselves. To piggyback off of that, we're going to do a sibling superlative. So I've got a bunch of who would be the most likely to questions, and then we're all going to kind of vote to see who we think would be the most likely to take on whatever characteristic that is out of the MCs from the anthology. So first one, most likely to forget their best friend's birthday.
Well, not Naomi.
If we want to rapid fire, just like shout out who we think it is.
I feel like Alessa.
Oh, true.
That's what I was gonna say too.
Alessa or Cardin, like, just would be like, eh.
No, I feel like Cardin would remember and just not care.
Just, yeah, like,
Yeah.
Whereas
be like, I'm not gonna deal with that.
I feel like Alessa would just genuinely be like, oh shoot, that was yesterday.
I
Or
agree. I think
somebody-
Alexa would be the one to forget. Yeah.
or somebody would remind her and she'd be like, and like what?
Who?
Your point.
Any other contenders? No? All right. That one goes to Alessa, most likely to forget her best friend's birthday. Okay, next one. Most likely to eat something off the ground. I think we could all say with
Joseph.
Has done it before, will do it again.
All right. Most likely to shoplift. I think that one's also either Alessa or Minnie.
Yeah,
gonna say
definitely
Minnie.
Alessa. Yeah, or Minnie. Yeah.
Or Minnie.
Yeah.
I feel like Alessa would do it and nobody would even know. Minnie might get caught and then get in a fight about it.
But what of it?
Yeah.
And
Okay. Most likely to spend all of their money on something stupid.
Cardin. Either Cardin or Wit, I feel like, but I don't know. No, you know what? Wit, I feel like Wit wouldn't. Never mind.
Good
Do you have an
question.
opinion?
I guess it would depend on like what's stupid. Like I feel like Marcello would buy something that he
Yeah,
thinks
I was
is like
gonna say.
so
Yeah.
incredibly important, and then like
Luca's the
his
most-
siblings would be like, why did you buy that?
Yeah.
I would-
Marcello
Luca's
drops
the
like
most
$3
likely to
grand
buy
on a
something
button.
Yes.
It's art.
It's
Yeah,
China, okay? Like,
You don't have to understand it.
It's one of a kind.
It makes me feel something.
You just don't get it. Right?
He just doesn't know the normal price of things. So he's like, I thought like that meme of, I thought that's how much a banana cost
How much does a banana cost, Michael? $10?
him.
I mean, if we're being literal about it, Luca's the one who would be most likely to spend some money on something stupid if we look at his car.
This
Yeah.
is true.
Or Marcello would buy it for Luca, knowing that it's stupid and just wanting to see his resident himbo smile a little bit. All right, next one. This is one of my favorite ones. Most likely to get a terrible tattoo.
Tristan. Based on how things went the first time he got drunk in the book.
Sure, he
I
does.
feel
He does like alcohol quite a bit, so who knows?
I feel like it would either be him in just a moment of like absolute drunken stupor, or Cardin. And I feel like it would be like not, he wouldn't think it's like a bad tattoo. He would want like something with like a lot of symbolism, and it would be like really emo, like, you guys just don't get it. Like, this is art. And it would, everybody else would be like, I don't know what I'm looking at, but okay. Unless he's morally opposed to.
I was gonna say I don't think he would really ever get on board with the tattooing thing, but if he did, it'd probably be stupid. I can imagine it wouldn't be very cool.
Yeah, because it's like Woody, because there's a permanence in that I wonder if he'd be willing to commit to. But then if he did, I think it would be like so overthought and like specific that nobody else gets it.
It'd be a bird cage and everyone would be like, so you like birds?
AJ says he would inspire his tattoo artist to do something sweet.
Oh,
Probably,
That's true.
probably. And he'd be like, this is my soul reflected in ink. I
It's
love
so
this.
funny. Oh. All right, I'm bad at keeping up with the chat. I'm trying to do that. I'm doing it on my phone, and that's a problem. All right, next one. Most likely to join a cult.
Any?
Yeah. Or I was gonna say Wit would be too nice to say no.
Yeah, it would be too nice to
You
say
just go
no.
along with it.
You'd
Yeah.
be like, oh, okay, guys, sounds nice.
I don't know. I feel like
She wouldn't
sorry.
even know it was a cult.
Yeah,
I feel like
eventually she would figure it out and get herself out, but it would take a while before that, maybe.
I feel like Alessa might, but like not on accident, but like during like one of her little heists or something, like she would stumble into like a cult meeting and be like,
Infiltrate.
no,
Yeah,
totally.
she would do it on purpose. Yeah, absolutely.
Where do you keep your valuables?
Same likelihood, but totally different reasons. Like Wit would just be like, I'm here, and then suddenly she'd call Joseph, like,
I think I
help,
joined a
get
cult.
me out. Right. Where
I'm
Alessa's
in
like, I'm the
danger.
leader now.
Like again.
AJ says Wit brings snacks to the cult meeting.
I
Who
think
wants a coffee?
It would be bad to give like passion coffee to cultists. Like let's just
Leader. She starts the cult.
I thought it was a support group. Somebody said that's great.
that's so funny. Okay, most likely to give their kid a terrible name.
Joseph. Out of spite.
if
I mean,
I say
I
first,
had a
so shall
terrible
you.
name, so
I think out of history too, Tristan.
yeah,
Like
true.
Clearly.
Tristan gave,
Yeah.
Tristan, yeah.
missed the mark on a couple of them. All right, most likely to be late for everything.
Carden.
I was gonna say probably Carden.
Yeah.
Fashionably so.
Yes.
Okay, this is a good one. And I think I have a lot of opinions about this one, but most likely to fake their own death. I feel like everybody, I could see it happening, but for very different reasons. Like, I feel like Wit would do it just to like get out of a really bad situation. Like her manager is just
Wit would
really
be-
mean. And
With
she's
like,
like, "I need to
because
make
she's in
my
a
job."
cult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time she wants a new job, she just fakes her death instead of quitting.
There's memorials for Wit in like every coffee
Everywhere.
shop.
She's
Carden
just too
fakes
anxious
his
to quit.
death because he can't even like at all. He's like, okay, I'm just out of here.
I'm pretty sure he's done that a number of times. One of the few who doesn't keep getting reborn. He's just perpetually 28 years old. So there comes a time where he's like, all right, I gotta like bite the bullet now and hightail it to China. I don't know. So
Right.
AJ said Naomi could write her own death. Now, I will admit, I thought about getting a little dark with my story. I mean, my story has some dark moments, but I did consider writing some stuff about where Naomi did try to end her life a couple times because she's very unhappy. And how it just did not go well. But that was a little bit too dark for her story. So yeah, I didn't go that route. But needless to say, you can assume she probably tried that a few times.
Yeah. Katie in the chat asked a good one that will slide in here. Who would give their pet a really pretentious name?
Marcello.
Oh yes.
Like something in Italian that nobody else can pronounce. That
Maybe like
means-
an obscure art reference that nobody will get.
I gave I don't know if anybody saw it. I gave Naomi's cat a name Calliope, which is like based off of Greek mythology from Mnemosyne's like child's name was Calliope. So that was a little bit of a Greek reference there. So I kind of imagine her naming her cat Calliope, or like one of the like muses in like every life.
But I think the thing about Naomi is that anybody else that would be cringy, with her, it's like just so tasteful and elegant. You're like, oh, of course, a cat named Calliope. Oh, of course.
Yeah, cringy. And my coworker's name is Calliope, so I was like, oh,
that's cool.
I like it. Yeah,
that's so cool. Okay.
Katie says this is Caravaggio the third. Is that Marcello? Absolutely.
Okay, most likely to stalk a crush.
All
together,
Naomi. Naomi. She totally has.
Naomi tried.
She really tried, and I love that maybe this is just me getting older, but I had like her trying to find Daniel and the story, like, who is this guy? How do I find him? And her like trying to Facebook stalk this guy just because before she would use Facebook. Because she doesn't use social media, so tried and failed.
I loved that part. That was one of the funniest things, and despite the rest of the story being just so like sad and beautiful and bittersweet, I was just like, the fact that this woman does not know how to use Facebook and is trying to type in names. Daniel, I laughed like, for a solid 5 minutes. Photo. Is this him?
So sad.
Okay. Most likely to lock themselves out of the house.
Not Alessa.
I was actually going to say it could be Alessa, but then the lock doesn't matter.
Right.
So
I feel like maybe Marcello, because he could just like snap and like somebody would come open it for him.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't carry keys.
Carden doesn't leave the house, so.
True.
I was gonna say Minnie, but then she just like kicks the door down.
Yeah. Maybe Tristan. I feel like Tristan would be like getting home from a really long day of work, just like sad and be like, not have his keys.
Oh,
guess I'm sleeping in the office again, or in his car, or something like that.
Hope comes home and finds him like just sitting on the stoop, like like a sad
Head
cat.
In his hands. Yeah.
And she's just like, again.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's like a weekly occurrence.
Yeah.
AJ just asked, what does Thanksgiving gathering look like with this family?
That is so fun.
Complicated is the correct
answer. That was actually we had a review that said that as well, wondering what a Christmas dinner looks like. I don't know. I feel like they'd all show up. Begrudgingly, most of them. I don't know. Tristan would just be like happy to be invited. He'd be like, I get to come this time.
I think like Naomi and Whit would definitely be like happiest because they would want to see their family for sure. But like Naomi definitely getting the cold shoulder for most everyone.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I picture like Whit inviting everyone and having dinner set in the coffee shop, and then like if we go the angsty route, no one shows up. Maybe Tristan shows up a few hours late, and then Joseph calls and says, "Oh, I can't make it."
Joseph would not leave Whit hanging.
Somebody's like, well, is Naomi there? I'm not coming.
Yeah, they all want to know who else is going to be there.
If Carden showed up, he'd probably bring Idris with him to like keep him centered. I can just see Idris being like, "It's okay, I'm here. Yeah. It's all right."
I would love to see like all the love interests like at the same. Like I feel like all this.
I think she cut out a little bit.
Yeah. Cass, I think your internet is a little funny, but I think that'd be really fun to have the love interests together, like at the kids' table, so to speak, just like watching on, trying to.
Do you think Luca would sit at the kids' table?
Luca would be the first person to sit at the kids' table. Luca would bring crayons. Are you kidding me?
Oh my goodness.
I feel like Idris is like the complete opposite of Carden, and he'd just be super friendly to everyone. I can just see him and Naomi getting along really well, so I think that would be super cute. He'd be trying to mend these relationships on behalf of Carden. Carden's just in the corner like,
I don't want to. You can't make me. Yes, I love it because Naomi's always trying to make amends and it just goes terribly wrong. So she needs help.
And then Alessa might come, but just to like pickpocket everybody and leave.
Yeah.
Right? She'd be like,
Marcello and Naomi need to watch their
Take all their
pockets.
magic and run.
Yeah.
right.
True.
Joseph would be like, finally, thank
Yeah,
you.
take it away. Take it away.
Carter would be like, please, here, have it.
I feel like Gemma would like make Joseph play something on the violin for them all. And he'd be like, please don't. Please don't make me do this. Not in front of Pardon. Please don't make me.
Yeah. Oh, there's good questions coming in the chat.
Yeah. What love interest from another story did everybody fall for? I think my answer is just all of them. I think every time a love interest came on the page, I was just like rooting from them from the first moment. But did anybody have favorites?
I loved Luca, but I mean, I loved all of them. I think they're all really good love interests, but Luca, I think, was the first one I really read because you were sending me like snippets and I was like, oh my God. I love this man.
I feel like that was Gemma for me because I was reading as Cassidy was writing. And I was like, who is this sweetheart and how do we protect her at all costs? Any other favorites?
I really liked Hope. I thought that she was like the perfect,
Mm-hmm.
he needs her,
We all need a hope in our lives.
Yes.
Just like somebody to like show up with coffee right promptly at 9 a.m. after like a night of drinking. Like that moment solidified it. Any others? Because there's another really good question too that we can switch to. But if anybody else has a favorite love interest.
Am I
Okay.
the only one that didn't have like I can't remember. Am I the only one that didn't have like an actual love interest?
I mean, you had a suit, sort of.
Sort of.
I loved Steven, even though
Well,
it was like
Steven's
past.
great. Yeah, that's true. Steven's pretty great. Poor
They were
Daniel.
all great.
Daniel's great, but I don't consider him a love interest. Sorry, spoilers.
I feel like the one in Temptation of Magic wasn't super. Am I thinking of the wrong one?
Yeah, no, Taryn wasn't so like prominent. She had her little tryst, but I feel like it wasn't.
It was questionable, like if she like killed him at the end or something. Like
Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Spoilers. Okay, and to kind of piggyback off of that, who brags about their love interest to the others? That's a great question, Blake.
All of them. They're all just competing for like, excuse me, no, mine's the best.
I feel like Minnie would be like, Conrad lets me get away with murder. Literally.
Literally.
That's like
literally.
So
All right. So how was everybody feeling? Those are some really great questions. I think that's all I had for my most likely twos. Do we want to play a game? Are we feeling up to it?
Sure.
Visual check. All right. So as spoiled before, we do actually have a Cards Against Humanity, actually through cardsofpersonality.com game. And the way we're going to run it is we're going to share my screen so everybody can see, and we're all going to play, but I'm going to sort of step out as the kind of permanent judge. And then people in the chat, you guys are going to have to help me choose which card is the best, because that way it remains unbiased. So we're going to give me a second because I have to share my screen and I'm a little bit inept when it comes to this stuff. Okay. And everybody, authors, are we okay? Can we see the screen first of all?
Yes.
Yes. And
Oh, okay. Let me pull this up.
do we all have it open on your own browsers that you guys can play? Are there any issues with that?
Working on it.
I see mine. These are so great. I love these.
Okay. So I'm gonna look at the submitted cards, right? But the first one is the most radiant creature in the 12 known universes is, and I'm gonna war. It's funny. So people in the chat, I see there are like 10 of you. If you want to just start commenting as they come in, if you have favorites.
I don't even know how to do this. Jeez Louise.
So, no, it's okay. If you want to, you have to drag the white card that you want to pick to the submit card file.
I can only see one of my cards. That's what I'm confused about.
Okay, are you in the submitted cards?
Ha, I found it. Never mind, we're good.
Okay. We're troubleshooting. We tried to do this
our
before.
First time really playing as a group, so bear with us.
Yeah, I finished these cards last night. Oh my goodness. These are
Oh, dead wife.
Oh no.
my God.
All right. Is that everybody in?
I think so.
Yeah, right.
Thanks,
Okay.
Ellen.
Most radiant creature in the 12 known universes: death, war,
The
wit's
war of
disdain for
siblings.
rude customers, dead wife, bittersweet symphony of tortured cries of your enemies, and then Alessa's insatiable love for bergamot tea. I love the variation that some people went for the most like serious thing possible versus okay. Okay, I'm waiting for people in the chat to submit, but I think my initial favorite is probably Dead Wife because I think just for what it is.
I mean, but have you seen War? Like, do we get to like bid for our own cards?
I mean, oh, okay. I do like the wit's disdain. Any other? So far, we've got everybody's split right now in the chat, which is really fun.
Alyssa's love for bergamot tea.
All right. Well, I think I'm gonna go for Dead Wife because I am in charge.
Well,
Who
you're
said
the
Dead Wife?
judge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guilty.
Who was that?
Me.
Okay, so give me a second because I gotta go. All right. So that goes to Maddie then. So we're gonna go to the next one. I didn't break my curse because ... Let me just discard all of these. And then everybody can no, drop to discard. Okay, and then everybody can fill theirs in. These are so good already.
Oatmeal. Oh my God.
All right, we're gonna let this one actually load because I think there is a slight delay in the chat. So people in the chat, comment your favorite. And we are gonna do it a little differently while it loads. Does anybody want to pitch for why theirs is the best? I think oatmeal is my personal favorite.
So specific.
But
Oatmeal.
just like I want to know the context of why.
Blake likes oatmeal as well.
Yeah, I think
Shani likes
oatmeal.
Oatmeal seems to be the resounding winner.
Oatmeal's the fan favorite. Who said oatmeal?
That's me.
I can't see everybody, so you're gonna have to be
it's
more
Cassidy.
Thank you. Oh, that's so fitting too, because I
Yeah.
feel like Joseph would.
I think yeah.
All right. I didn't break my curse because of oatmeal. Oh my goodness. Okay, next one. We don't really talk about it. We just call it the blank incident. Submitted cards. Oh, oatmeal incident. That also would have been funny for that one. Okay.
Do you know how we draw a card?
Yeah, it's not
You just have to pull off the white deck and into your card base.
Oh,
I don't see that.
that would have been good to know.
Yes. Sorry that we did not troubleshoot this before.
I didn't even see that, so I guess I'm gonna run out of cards.
Yeah, I don't
So-
see it.
You have to go back to the home screen You have to like hit the little back button in the bottom left corner, and then there's the white deck, and you have to pull it down into your cards.
Thank you.
Okay.
It won't let me do that. I'm on my phone.
Oh.
I'm on my phone too. It does let you, if you hit the back button, and
It won't let. There's no back button to hit. Is the thing.
on the bottom.
Yeah, it's just grayed out.
Weird.
Oh. Okay, well, if you run out of cards, Ellie, you can then become the judge, and we can just switch if you feel like you don't have cards.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Is everybody in? Yeah, it looks like it. So we don't really talk about it. We just call it the pronouncing Eris's full name incident, the embezzlement incident, telling Marcello to wear something off the rack incident, that feeling when you're trying to create a Frankenstein version of your soulmate and you just can't quite get it right incident, anger issues incident, and plague incident. Oh my goodness, these are really fun. Anybody in the chat
Oh my
pronouncing,
gosh,
telling Marcello to wear something off the rack, that feeling when. Oh, these are so good.
I mean, did you write the Frankenstein one, Lena? Oh my gosh. So
I think the Frankenstein
my
one's my
favorite.
favorite just because I'm gonna explain myself, because the card, you'd think that like it would be just like a small, quick rundown version, but the idea of them saying that full card every time they talk about the incident is hysterical. Who said that one? I think that one's my favorite.
That was me, and that was my exact reasoning behind picking that one.
So good. I love it.
All right, I'm gonna discard it, but then you're gonna get the point, Kayla. Okay. I have to like keep moving my thing. Sorry. There we go. All right, next round. This is going pretty nice. Scientists recently discovered a new color. It's called, this one's in honor of Cardin. Oh my goodness. All right. Okay, chat, if you want to look at what's going on, I'll read them out. Scientists recently discovered a new color. It's called Spending the Next 5 Lifetimes Alone. It's called, yeah, somebody else.
Negroni Spagliato with Prosecco in it.
It's called The Blood of My Enemies. It's called Peppermint Coffee and Overwhelming Grief. It's called Unrivaled Jealousy. And it's called That Feeling when you're trying to impress your crush, but it turns out she's your dead wife's daughter.
Oh no.
That feeling when cards get me a lot. The one that says Prosecco, that's a favorite of mine as well. All right, 2 people have voted for the Negroni in the
Spending the next 5 lifetimes alone. What color is it? I don't want it.
Yeah, that's probably the worst name for a color ever. I think just because the sound has been playing on repeat in my head, we're gonna have to go with the Negroni.
Yeah.
But that was so fun. Who said the Negroni?
That was me. I know my audience.
Lucky, yeah, that's a lucky card.
Yeah, Matt, it didn't matter what the prompt was.
Yeah,
Maddie was
whatever
gonna
it
use
is.
I was like, I'm ready.
Okay. Maddie is currently in the
Crushing
lead.
it.
I did something. Wait, I messed up my. Okay, I fixed it. All right, next one. Lex wrote a song about. All right. That feeling one's getting every time. Is there anybody that doesn't have cards or is still waiting? Okay, there we go. Lex wrote a song about sin of the deadbeat dad. Coffee puns. That'd be great.
Coffee puns.
Dead best friends. That feeling when you're trying to steal some magic and you can't taste butter anymore. Craving the taste of vengeance and pancakes. And then Cardin's love for name dropping people. I'll wait for the chat to kind of weigh in, but I think I need a full album from Lex with all of these, like, as each track.
Yeah.
I just want to say, if she ever played a coffee pun song for Wit would immediately propose. Like, there would be
Immediately, yeah.
There would be no discussion.
I guess that feeling is definitely the butter.
Yeah.
That feeling when you can't taste butter anymore. I'd be so curious how she works it into a song. Like, what's the vibe of that?
Really oddly specific.
Right. All right. I think that one, always the feeling ones. Yeah. I think that's just a lucky pull. Who said that feeling
was
when
me again.
God, Maddie.
Stop being funny.
Yeah, stop being
Maddie knows her audience.
Exactly.
All right. What sort of song about to Maddie? All right. Next one. How's everybody doing? Are we still doing okay? Good. I'll take silence as acceptance. When in doubt, everything is blank's fault. Oh my goodness. I was waiting for this card to come out because I think it's my favorite in the deck.
Oh no.
Oh my God, these are so good.
Is anybody still? All right, we'll wait. Okay. Did everybody submit?
I'm trying. It's not letting me.
Okay, there we go. Oh, this is a hard category. When in doubt, everything's daddy issues fault. Fitting. Everything's the fate's fault. Also very fitting. Sunshine Girls, because there are so many of them in this anthology. Joseph's inability to talk to women. Naomi's terrible social media stalking skills.
She's awful.
So many problems could have been avoided if she knew how to use Facebook. Tears nudes.
Tears nudes.
My headcanon for that card is that, you know, in the prologue when Tears torturing Kara, like, mentally, that's just what it was.
Nudes.
He just sent
Here.
her nude after
What do you think
nude
about this one?
until she decided to end it all.
Enough. No more.
Unsolicited pics.
All right. Chat, I hope that you find these as funny as I do, because I am laughing. I'm so torn on this one. I'm definitely gonna need people's help. Anybody else want to weigh in, because I'm torn between Tears nudes and just like going the straight and predictable route of daddy issues, but I also think just like blaming Naomi for everything is also on brand. I don't know. I'm really torn.
That would be on brand for the family.
Yeah,
Daddy
true.
issues. Yeah, I don't know. Daddy issues is like most of their problems. Some of them mommy issues, but mostly daddy
Yeah,
issues.
I feel like, and everybody blames the fates at least once.
This is true. Even Naomi, who like loves them. So
I wonder, chat's a little quiet right now, and that's okay.
you're
All right,
the judge.
I think I'm just gonna have to go. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with daddy issues because it's funny and true. Who said daddy issues?
Oh my God, Maddie, stop playing.
I like that's insane. I don't know that anybody's gonna be able to like. Yeah,
You
she's
can't
getting
catch up
really
at this
good
point.
cards.
You can't catch up.
Okay. Gemma once said Joseph's best trait is his. This is gonna be fun.
Oh
No. Also, Katie M, thank you for participating. You don't have to say sorry for charging your phone.
I'm dead. Oh no.
These are good. I feel like they don't necessarily fit the tense, but they're still making me laugh. So
These are good.
okay, Joseph's pet trait is calming down Wit's anxiety. Absolutely necessary several times throughout the anthology. A million dreams and a bitch ain't one. Grumpy boys. He is grumpy, but he's cute. Crippling anxiety. Same. A spectacular display of misfortune. That feeling when you have to choose between learning the violin from the girl you like or eating her dreams.
I mean, that has to be the one, right?
I'm torn between that and crippling anxiety and a million dreams and a bitch ain't one.
Oh my goodness, these are all great.
I'm a sucker for the feeling one. Blake agrees with me in the chat. Katie is laughing too. All right, I think who submitted that feeling when you have to choose between learning violin?
Yay!
Was that Ellie or Kat?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yes. Ellie.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Back. Where are you in the? Okay. Are we okay to play another few rounds? Everybody feeling good?
Yeah.
All right. Tristan's Achilles heel is blank. Submit away. He has many, I feel like. All right, I muted myself. Okay, forget me not right now, Dad. I'm busy. Ooh, okay. These are so good. Achilles heel is forget me not right now, Dad. I'm busy. Eris dusty, crusty socks. Argyle socks. Everybody who had a similar theme for this one. Big fury energy. Listening to Naomi talk about Steven. Oh no. Caustic sarcasm.
I think that would just be his constant drink. Would just be like, oh my God, please pour me another whiskey.
Right. I don't know. It has no context in the story, but I really want to say Eris dusty crusty socks because I want to know more about that sibling dynamic.
Yes.
I think that's mine, but everybody likes the socks. Somebody in the chat said, Alexa said, I thought that said big furry energy. Wrong anthology.
Yeah.
I was like, where was that?
Oh, okay. We're kind of torn in the chat. I don't know. I think I'm gonna go with the socks. Who said socks?
Cassidy.
Era's dusty, crusty socks. All right, Cassidy.
I just pictured her like shoving her feet in Tristan's face.
That is the most sibling thing ever. I just like want to imagine the wars that started over socks. Okay. What are the authors of Fate and Fury spending your $25 on? That would have been a good one for Tears Nudes.
I mean, yeah.
I'm sorry, my laugh is so obnoxious. I'm getting over a sinus infection, so I feel like I'm just wheezing at everybody right now. Tristan trying to flirt. Okay, what are the authors of Fate and Fury spending your $25 on? Tristan trying to flirt. Reshef's strongest sedative. I need 3 things. A saucy flash of an ankle. Terrible fashion sense. This feels targeted, but true. The fuggliest wannabe rocket ship of a car you've ever seen. And Tears gross toes.
Ew.
Oh my God.
I am not spending your $25 on that.
I'm not spending any money on Tears gross toes.
No.
This is a really good round. I think I'm a little partial to the Fuggliest Wannabe Rocket Ship of a car you've ever seen because that comes from Marcello's story. But they're all so good. Tristan trying to flirt. He needs the money for lessons. Thank you, Blake, in the chat. Because yeah. Gotta love an ankle flash, a sedative. I absolutely need a sedative. Tristan trying to flirt. Okay, we've got 2 for Tristan trying to flirt in the chat. So I think that gets the automatic win. Who said that one?
Kayla,
yes.
Yay.
I'm also gonna give like an honorary point to whoever said the Fuggliest Rocket Ship. Who was that?
That was me.
All right, good. I'm glad
She
I
doesn't
didn't
need
pick
it.
you then.
Maddie, let me
Need
have
it.
this one.
Yeah.
I'll let you have
Maddie, you
it.
have plenty.
Kayla. All right. So currently the score stands. Kayla has 2, Cassidy has 2, Maddie has 4, Ellie has 1, and Cass and CM. Boo for you. I'm okay to play another couple rounds. Is everybody feeling all right? Anybody
Yeah.
short on time?
I have to hop off at 8:30, but I can play until then.
All right. So we can, I think, get probably one more round in, and then we can part ways if we need to. And just so everybody in the chat knows, this game is available from Cards of Personality. If you want to, you can just type in create a game and just type in Multiverse of Sin, and I can drop that in the chat before we hop off. And you guys can play yourselves, like with your family, with your friends, with your writing buddies, play with whoever. I don't know. I'm having fun. Okay, so final round, I guess, then, before Cassie's got to go, is Even the Fates Couldn't Predict. Oh, these are so good. Okay. 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 Even the Fates Can Predict, dealing with Cardin's melodrama, Marcello's penchant for art and self-deprecation, Marcello's designer panties, getting Minnie to forgive and forget, a diva's cup of tea, and blaming your dad for everything. Ooh, I'm so torn on this. I love Marcello's designer panties just as a card. I feel like it's the answer to everything. But blaming your dad for everything is also just thematic of
It's true.
and Cardin's melodrama. True. Chat, I can't. Ooh. Okay, melodrama or panties is kind of torn. I think everybody in the chat says melodrama, and true. True. Who said melodrama?
Ellie. I get
There
another.
there you go. Fitting. You had to deal with Cardin's melodrama the most, so you win. Okay. So we've got Maddie in the lead. We've got Kayla, Cassidy tied, and Ellie tied for third, fourth. I don't know. Do we want to do one really quick like tiebreaker between the 3 of you for second? Just the 3 of them submit? Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Last tiebreaker. Something even Alessa would give everything to steal. So for those of you who don't know in the chat, Alessa has to give something up every time she takes magic. So that's what that's based on. I'm very excited for this. Pen's ultimate burn book. The secrets that the fates must have.
So many.
The untimely arrival of Uncle Tyr. Ooh, okay. I love Pen's ultimate burn book. Because I just imagine she has
all the deeds, yeah.
all of the gossip. Actually, people that didn't submit, you guys can chime in too on which one you think.
I think the burn book.
Burn book. Are we all kind of in agreement? Yeah, chat is coming with burn book too. All All right. I think that's the most fitting for this. Love would be really sweet, but I don't think that's the kind of people that we are. So who said burn book?
Ellie.
There you go.
Yay.
All right. In
Came
a
up from nothing. Now
last
in second.
minute,
Yeah.
last minute. Where is it? I don't know what happened. Okay. Oh, it looks like she hopped off the game. All right. Well, Ellie, you are in second. Maddie, you're our grand prize winner. Speaking of winners, everybody that was participating in the comments tonight, you're all entered in a giveaway for a copy of the book. I'm going to stop screen sharing because that makes it a little bit easier. But everybody who's in the chat has automatically entered for a copy of the book. I'll reach out to the winner. I'm just going to put your names in a random generator once we get off, and I will reach out via Instagram because I see everybody here. I know everybody everybody's handle. So if anybody who is kind of watching on wants to be entered and hasn't actually commented, drop a comment before you go. Oh, some people are forfeiting because they already have copies. That's nice of them. So that kind of concludes the fun we had. I'm going to drop the link or the title of the deck for Cards Against Humanity in the chat before we get off as well. So if anybody else wants to play, fellow authors, if you guys want to play, I'm always down. There are like 120 cards or something like that. So could be lots of fun. Thank you to everybody that joined us from the chat. Thank you to my fellow co-authors for joining me in this. This has been such a rewarding experience for me to have people to write with and then to celebrate with, because usually it just feels like I'm screaming into the void alone, and now I'm screaming into the void with you guys, and it's just so much better. Is there anything anybody would like to share or say before we wrap up? Last minute thoughts, comments, questions?
I just want to give a big shout out to you, Lena. Thank you so much for this opportunity, for getting us all together and getting us to collaborate on this project. It was so much fun and challenging and rewarding. And I'm just really honored to be on a book with all of you. So I'm really proud of that. And I can't wait for other people to read it and see what they think as well. So thank you, all of you.
Thank you. I'm equally honored to have written with all of you. When I first kind of pitched this idea, I was afraid that people weren't actually going to even submit, and to have your pitches, which blew me away, and then for it to just the follow through and the dedication. I'm so honored to have written with you all and to be a part of this with you guys. Thank you for trusting me and dealing with my incessant messaging, and then also having some fun tonight. So thank you guys for everything that you guys have contributed to this project.
And thanks for everyone for joining us. I'm so glad that people came and had fun with us. It was a lot of fun to watch your reactions and questions and voting and everything. So thank you so much. And for your kind words too.
Yes, thank you so much to everybody in the chat. I disclosed to the other authors before, I was not even sure that people were going to watch. So the fact that there were people really actively participating and having fun just really means the world. Does anybody else want to say anything before we close out? Cassidy, I know you have to run if you want to.
Yeah, just thanks everybody for making this really fun. I loved all of your stories, and I'm super grateful to be part of this, and I'm gonna hop off, but I will see you all later.
We love you. Thank you so much. Now, I'm not going to force anybody else to speak, but if anybody else wants to say anything, you're welcome to. Now is your chance. Otherwise, I can let you all go on and live your lives.
I wanted to say thank you as well for the opportunity, Lena. I know I said a lot of it in my acknowledgments, but I remember when I submitted, I did not think I had a chance in the world of getting picked. And it was such a huge moment for me, which is why I was like, okay, start writing immediately. I'm so So I was very happy to have been included and honored to be a part of it all with you guys, to be on a book with you guys, and then to everyone who has supported us along the way. You guys are wonderful. This has been such a fun experience. My first collaboration on a book, and hopefully it won't be my last. So
yeah, just thank you for being a part of it. Your pitch was one of the few that immediately just like stood out to me and made me emotional when I first read it. So I was like, it's so strange to me to hear that like you didn't think that you were going to be involved, because yours was one of the few that I was like, oh, this changes my whole view on this in itself. So I think it's funny. Anybody else? Again, you guys don't have to. I appreciate you guys being here.
I just want to say thank you as well, because yeah, I think for me, like I was considering whether I was even going to submit. I was like, oh, I don't know, like there's going to be so many talented people like submitting. Like I think I worked myself up into a state of like nervousness about it before I even submitted. And then I submitted and we talked about it and everything. And I was like, it's just been such a great, fun experience. It's been so easy as well. Like I know, like I've collaborated with stuff in the past and sometimes it can be really challenging, but I feel like everyone was willing to like collaborate and work together. And it was just like, to everyone else as well, I thank you for making this just such a good experience.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maddie. Anyone else? I don't want to like take away anybody's moment, but I also don't want to put you guys on the spot if you don't want to say anything. All right, I'm gonna assume everybody's good. Thank you guys for joining me tonight and on this project. I'm not gonna keep it going too much longer. For those of you who were in the chat and have not read it, Of Fate and Fury, a Deadly Sin Anthology, releases tomorrow or today if you're Maddie in Australia. I'm so excited. Thank you guys for everything. Have a good rest of your night. I'm gonna end our live streaming.